All right. Welcome, one and all, to the Off the Rails Sports Podcast. I am your host, John. And if you could kindly hit that like and subscribe button, it means a lot to us. Still, being a Red Sox fan, I am trying to overcome the trauma of that trade. We will get into that a little more. If I would highly recommend you see the podcast with Brian and I from yesterday. And, it's just, it's really two Red Sox fans just being disconsolate over seeing one of our stars just leave the team and get traded away for pennies on the dollar, and let's just get to the top story. We'll get to the Red Sox and other things in baseball, because I think if I stay on it too long, I'm not going to want to talk about the main story. And that is Game 5 of the NBA Finals happened, and the OKC Thunder came through 120-109 against the Indiana Pacers to take a 3-2 lead in the finals. Jalen Williams, welcome to your moment. 40 points, 14 of 24 from the field. Magnificent. He was the go-to scorer in the second half when they really, really needed him. Shea, excellent as always, 31 points, 10 assists. OKC had an 18-point lead in the second half. It whittled down to 2, and then they put their foot on the gas pedal and took off. And really, from the 4-minute mark on, there really wasn't much doubt of what was going on. Indiana, Pascal Siakam, 28 points. I think he was the best player on the floor who wasn't named Jalen Williams. TJ McConnell had a really great game. The debate is, should he have been in there instead of Halliburton? Halliburton is obviously hurt. He has a calf or a thigh injury, and obviously the reason you're very, very leery of that is that's exactly what Kevin Durant had back in the day for Golden State, and he ended up blowing out an Achilles. So, you want to win, but, do you want to lose a player for a year? And as being a Boston Celtics fan, I can tell you losing Tatum for 14 months isn't exactly a tantalizing prospect, right? But TJ McConnell had, 18 points. Stephen A., that guy is just the mouth that doesn't stop. This guy is sitting there. Halliburton needs to take himself out. It's easy for you to say. I'm sure there's a lot of days when you're not at your best. Wow, which is like most. And, he's a team player. He's trying to gut through it. He's trying to bring something there. Sometimes you have to save a player from himself, but the problem is if you don't put Halliburton in, all the cries are going to be after the game, why didn't you put Halliburton in? You can't win for losing. I totally empathize with Rick Carlisle. Now they go back to Indiana. Game 6 is on Thursday. First time in the playoffs they've been behind in a series. It's going to be a difficult situation. Indiana's going to be rocking. They're going to try and send it to a Game 7. We shall see. All right. As we talked about yesterday, the Boston Red Sox traded homegrown talent Rafael Devers, 9 years with the organization. They signed him out of the Dominican Republic when he was a teenager. And Craig Breslow, some guy named Kennedy in the organization, I guess he's a president, went in front of the media yesterday to try and explain the trade. They said it's not waving the white flag. Yeah, right. Yeah, you're giving up your best player. Your best player, right? Breslow talked about giving themselves financial flexibility at the trade deadline. Right. I hear this bullshit out of the Red Sox every year. We couldn't sign Mookie Betts. We couldn't get, Bogarts. We have to have some financial flexibility. Maybe don't pick up Trevor Story. How about that? They are trying to do Moneyball 2.0. That's what they're trying to do. Oh, we're going to get Bello for 5 years, $50 million. We're going to get Cabela. Hello? Rafaela, whatever, I'm so angry at the team. Breslow's statement, he says they're still committed to winning. Yeah, define that. So's Tampa Bay. He said, I do think that there is a real chance that at the end of the season, we're looking back and we've won more games than we otherwise would have. How do you quantify that? How do you know how many games you would have won with Devers? Hello? You have over half a season left. You don't know. They just came off winning 7 of 8. And then you trade him. They swept the Yankees. He has been a thorn in the Yankees' side for the last 9 seasons. 119 games. He has 31 home runs, hitting .350 against their ace, Garrett Cole. Yeah. You know what? And I think if we had Dave Dombrowski, we would have won 2 more titles instead of your stupid goddamn ass, Breslow. And this came from this came from ownership. You know, at the end of the day, I applaud Dombrowski for getting out because he saw what the writing on the wall was. Of course, the Red Sox, Anthony hits a home run in their first game in Seattle. Like we talked about, Brian and I, this organization is so dysfunctional. And that's my favorite team. Devers was planning on playing third base. In the middle of the night, they signed Bregman, who's a better third baseman. And all of a sudden, he's left without a position. So he finally acquiesces and says, I'll be DH. And then because of their piss poor planning, they don't have a backup first baseman. And they say, hey, we're going to move him over. Now the narrative is they are putting out in the press, they are putting out on social media, he wasn't a team player for the $331 million. And like I brought up yesterday, being in Los Angeles, Mike Trout would not leave center field for 3 years. The organization never put out that he wasn't a team player. This is Boston trying to get out of it. They did him dirty. Financial flexibility, what's that going to mean? Nobody's going to want to sign there. What free agent in their right mind would want to go there? Really? Nobody with a goddamn brain would want to go there. Let's also talk about John Henry and what a piece of crap he is. Devers, when he was upset because they were inferring in the media that he should go to first base, he got upset. He started firing back in the media, which is his only recourse. John Henry flew to Kansas City. Everything was okay. Obviously, it wasn't. He got on the plane to go back to Boston or Boca Raton or wherever the hell he lives, and he obviously told Breslow, find a trade. Let's get rid of him. He wasn't man enough to tell Devers to his face, hey, this isn't working. We're going to go our separate ways. No, because they are not men. They expect the players to be men, but they don't comport themselves as men in the front office. And Breslow's a piece of shit. He straight up is. He's hiding behind the facade of being a GM. Oh, I think we're going to win more games than we would have with him. How do you know? How is that possible to know? You know what? I think there's somebody with a bigger IQ than you that could do a lot better job. Well, that's obviously obvious. Hello? Yeah. It just angers me to no end. We have a homegrown talent. Granted, they're paying him $313 million. They got 8 more years. Go ahead, you unloaded him. It is too hard to get talent. We saw with Juan Soto how much you have to pay to get this kind of commensurate talent. Really, who's the better talent? Rafael Devers? Juan Soto. You may make the argument, Juan Soto, maybe, because of his youth. But he's not worth 2.5 times as much. That's what they're paying him. Hello? Boston just destroyed themselves in the free agent market. No free agent worth their salt is going to want to go play for that effed up organization. And I love the team, but it's time for John Henry to move on. He did great. He got his 4 titles. Kudos. Let's get somebody like Steve Cohen. Let's get somebody like the Philadelphia owner, whoever the hell that is, the Atlanta owner, who actually wants to win. Sorry. Or the Dodgers. Is the Dodger owner looking for a second team? Red Sox, come on. Put the for sale sign up. It's just a bad day in Boston. I couldn't even imagine what Boston radio was like. I mean, that must have been just like a firestorm. I'm telling you right now. All right, let's go to what happened in the national. Oh, we have the Game 6 of the National Hockey League tonight. We're in Florida, Sunrise, Florida. And the Florida Panthers, holding a 3-2 lead, play the Edmonton Oilers. We will see if the cup is on display. It is going to be on display. We will see if the Florida Panthers are hoisting it, or we go back to Edmonton on Friday for a Game 7. I think Florida's going to win. I think they've actually, Scott and I were talking about it. Scott's not able to be on the podcast for a little bit because of personal situations. But we're talking about it, and I'm going to give Scott kudos. You know, he's talking about how big and how physical Florida is. We're going to see what ends up happening. But I think they're going to end the cup tonight in Game 6. Okay, in the Major League Baseball docket, we had the Phillies beating the Marlins 5-2. And then, wait for it, you're not going to believe this one. You're going to think this is some type of fantasy. The Rockies won their second game in a row. They won 6-4 over the Nationals. Yeah, I'm not just making this up. This ain't some fantasy. Okay? Angels beat the Yankees 1-0 in extra innings, which was really surprise. It was a tight game. It was raining. It was dreary. Angels finally snapped that 3-game losing streak. The Rays beat the Orioles 7-1. Go figure. Red Sox go into Seattle cross country without their leader. They actually pulled Devers off the charter flight to Seattle and gave him a taxi back to Fenway so he could get his stuff and leave. Huh. Yeah, what a class organization. Giolito got the win. 3-1, 4.7 ERA. Kudos to you, mister. Athletics beat the Astros 3-1. God, I thought the Athletics were going to be a lot better. And finally, in the nightcap, Shohei Ohtani pitched his first time in literally almost 2 years. Dodgers beat the Padres 6-3. Shohei, 1 inning, 1 earned run. He hit a double, had an RBI. That guy, Dylan Cease, took the loss. He's 2-6. And I watched that guy's stuff. That guy's got some nasty stuff. I don't even understand how he's 2-6, but, you know, it is what it is. Congratulations, Shohei, pitching, being back on the mound. Glad to see you. It makes baseball a better place. All right, if you could, like I said, please hit the like and subscribe button. It means a lot to us. Leave some comments, and we'll see you soon on Off the Rails Sports Podcast.